Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seat, as always, currently driving, is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling. Oh, you are in a bad area again, Darren. But Darren says hello. He is on his way home from work. And
our robot co-host.
You know that.
Oh, I know you're probably in that dead area that's like a mile or two from your house. So he'll be joining us with a better connection shortly. We want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by HomecircleMedia.com for the latest and greatest in anime gear. Everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out HomecircleMedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, commission, and cosplay needs, be sure to check out KAYCIFOXX on Facebook and Instagram. We're excited tonight. We have an amazing show. Of course, this is our Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid special. We started doing specials a while ago with all the way back, started with New Game, and we've had My Hero Academia, Keijo, Devil as a Part-Timer. Recently, we did a Show by Rock Mashumaresh special. And we are honored tonight to have two amazing voice actresses joining us. We have Kristi Rothrock, the voice of Ilulu, who's got to be the cutest dragon in the series.
I agree, although obviously I'm quite biased. She's just so... Oh, I love her.
And we are also honored to be joined by Rachel Glass, who voices Elma, who is probably one of my favorite dragons in the series.
I no joke love Elma.
I love her too. I love her too much. Every time she says something, I'm just like, oh, relatable, love it.
But she also has this like wonderful purity about her, where she just like loves sweets and stuff. Yeah, she's just like still learning. Yeah, I love it.
Hello to everybody out there in the chat room. Great to see you all here. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time here and you're enjoying the show, hit that subscribe button. When we hit 200 subscribers, we are going to be doing a giveaway where one lucky fan gets to sit in on a interview with a voice actor in the future.
Sweet.
The faster that we hit that number, the faster one of you lucky people get to sit in the seat beside me and Darren. You never know who's going to be the voice actor guest. And Darren, I think that's probably best to keep muted until you get the better connection, because it sounds horrible over the car audio.
But I'm not even in car audio. That's the funny part.
Oh wow!
I literally pulled up to my house and I'm in my Ranger, my truck.
Ah, okay.
I think it's just feedback or from like us talking. Yeah.
And we are excited. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us tonight. It is an honor to get to finally meet you and speak with you.
Yes, of course. I'm glad to be on. I'm glad that you would have me here.
And I have been a fan of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid since the beginning. There are certain songs, and we were talking a little bit before the show, there are certain anime songs that you usually don't skip. And both openings for Dragon Maid are ones that I listen to full through every time. I think is it Fiona, the band that does the opening song for both seasons, actually. I started listening to their music more today, and I fell in love with them.
That's awesome. Yeah, the ending theme for this season, I love it. It's so pure and cute, and just like everything else in the show, so pure.
And what was it like for you guys? Rachel, we'll start with you because you were in season 1 with Elma. What was it like to audition for this show and to find out that you got the role?
Well, see, the funny part about that is that I didn't actually audition for Elma. Kyle brought me in. Kyle Phillips is the director of Miss Kobayashi season 1 and 2. He brought me in actually originally to audition for Lukua. And I remember dubbing the first scene that you hear her voice, which I think is Toru calling her on the phone, and then Luca giving advice or something over the phone. So Kyle had me read that, and then he was like, yeah, can you do more like cool surfer chick? And I was like, Kyle, you know I am not a cool surfer chick. I don't know. I was like, I am the opposite of cool surfer chick. And he was like, okay. I see where you're going with this, but I think I got another role for you. Her name's Elma. We'll get to her soon. And I was like, okay. And then about like 7 weeks went by because Elma comes in like episode 8 or something of season 1. And he was like, I didn't forget about you. She's here. I promise. And I was like, I just thought you lied to me, Kyle. And then whenever we started season 2, he's like, hey, guess what? Elma's in the first episode. I was like, shut up. No, she's not, you liar. But yeah, I love Elma. She's my little spirit animal. She's just ridiculous. And she's got such like an innocence about her. It's just delightful.
And Elma is a fun character. In the fact that her and Toru start off
pretty nightmarish noise.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the connection tonight, Darren. Usually you're crystal clear.
I have no idea. Let me try switching to my tablet. See if that helps.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. Yeah. But usually he's crystal clear through, so I don't know what's going on.
It happens. For once, I'm not the one who's having AV trouble.
And as I was saying, with Elma, she comes in, kind of butts heads with Toru in season 1. Season 2, you get to see more of a backstory on Elma, and you get like things got pretty serious as the series progressed. And I finished it in Japanese, and I'm caught up as far as they have dubbed out thus far because I had to go through and watch everything. And
well, you're farther ahead than me. I try not to watch it ahead in the J because then I don't know, I like make choices before I get in the booth, and I don't really like doing that because I'd rather be directed by Kyle. But I was spoiled for the episode 9 whole bit and how much Elma is in there, and but I generally try not to look ahead because I want it to experience it the time that Elma's experienced it as we're doing it in the dub. But sometimes I get spoiled because people are so excited. They're like, have you seen this? And they tag me in it. And I'm like, I have now. I love it, but thank you, but no.
And Kristi, your character gets introduced in season 2, episode 1 and after all of the turmoil that Kyoto Animation had gone through with the fire and everything in Japan and the tragedy, for them to bounce back with Dragon Maid and making such an epic first episode. The fight scene between Ilulu and Toru, I've heard people say that season 2 has better fight scenes than Dragon Ball and Fairy Tail, and like it was just intense. And as the series, of course, progresses, Ilulu becomes absolutely adorable. What was it like to be able to be Ilulu in this second season?
Oh, man. Well, starting off, one of the questions you asked was auditions. So they sent out the audition, and it was for Ilulu, and then for Shota. And I was like, and I just looked at Ilulu and I'm like, this little like adorable gremlin character. And I loved the way she looked, but and I'm sure, as Rachel will tell you, never get attached to any audition ever. Don't get excited about auditions until you find out that you booked them, because if you get excited about them, no matter, even if you do so well, it doesn't matter sometimes, because sometimes getting booked is completely out of your hands because maybe you sound too much like another character that you're going to be playing opposite of, or somebody else's voice just fit the tone a little bit better. So I sent it and forgot it. I sent it and I was like, all right, cool, Awesome. And then I want to say it was like 5 days after the audition was due, I got a text from Tara, who's the talent coordinator at Funimation, and she was like, "Hey, are you available to record 30 minutes for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I thought, 30 minutes, like, I guess it's Walla. And then I got another text. She was like, "Okay, so are you free for an hour here and another half hour here?" And I'm like, "Wait a second." And I pieced things together. I was like, "Did I book the audition? Oh my gosh." And then I found out and I was like, "Excuse me? What?" And like, because I mean, that's just such a rush feeling of like, oh my gosh, like booking on audition on any level is awesome feeling. It's but second in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and I'm like, no, that's amazing. And so I was really, really excited. And then I'm actually kind of I'm the way that you are, Rachel, which is I don't want to watch a whole lot before I go in. The most I'll watch is like enough to get a feel for the character when I'm auditioning.
Yeah.
And then after that, like I don't spoil anything for myself. Because again, I don't want to come in with any preconceived notions about what's going to happen or how I want to read for things. Because seeing what's happening in context and reacting to people who have already recorded is totally it could take away totally the context that you thought it had. So anyway, I did enjoy, though, kind of following her in her weird journey of being like this like really like mean like little gremlin imp thing to a very cute sweet gremlin little imp thing, and getting to like start out with just like a bam, just like punch in the face as far as like her character goes. I mean, she just like comes and like shakes the audience by the shoulders, and then oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. It was really fun to record. It was so fun. Because she's pure chaos at this point. And so in all of the dodging and fighting, I was adding like little like cackles because she's just like having the time of her life. She's like, heck yeah, I'm beating the crap out of Toru. And so so getting to do that fight scene and add those little like like little happy little chuckles because she's just getting a kick out of it was really fun. And then like her finding out how the human world works and the ball of tiny hands. I'm like, this character,
So
I love her.
silly.
She's so gross because if you follow me on Twitter, I'm disgusting. Like there was my Halloween costume last year because it was the pandemic was like me pouring like macaroni and cheese all down myself. I was the cheddar goblin from the movie Mandy. And so I'm just like posting pictures of myself just covered in food. And so I'm like a nasty, like I joke that I'm gross, but I'm genuinely gross. And so Ilulu's saying like, it's a ball of tiny hands, like I'm just like, oh my God, this girl's so gross and nasty. I love her. And so, yeah, that was the whole process of like auditioning to where I am now, where I'm just like, she is chaos. And she's pure like caramel apple sweet at the same time. It's just, I love her.
That's so funny because whenever I recorded I think I was one of the first people who recorded for the episode 1. And like I was there for like an hour maybe, and we were chatting with Kyle. And at the very end, because he scrolls back up to like where the cast list is at the very top, and I saw that Ilulu was blank. I was like, Kyle, can you tell me who Ilulu is? And he was like, oh, I got to narrow down to like 4 people, but I have an idea. And I was like, okay, I trust you. I would just want to know first. Please let me know. But he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know yet. So you'll know as soon as everybody else knows. And I'm like, no, I want to know now.
Tell me.
And then there's his name's Kyle also on Twitter. He posts every Wednesday. He posts like a clip. It's either him or Matthew. And he posts
Shout out to you two, by the way. Y'all are awesome.
They're so cool. They're so great. They posted a clip of, I think, right before the fight scene and then into where Elma is talking to Miss Kobayashi, and Miss Kobayashi is trying to like convince her to like protect the city or intervene.
Which is one of my favorite lines from the whole show, where she's like, only because Miss Kobayashi tried to bribe me.
She bribed me. It was so good. I saw that clip and I heard Kristi's voice and I was like, no, it's perfect. Thank you. Yes. I heard your gross little like little lick noise. I was like, no, yes, it's great.
Thank you.
You were. I was so thrilled. Like, she's perfect. Bring her.
Yay! Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. It has been phenomenal getting
Absolutely.
to be a part of the show and getting to be on the cast. Because I mean, every episode, I just love it so much. It's so like sweet, and I never really followed it up until this point, but I've like caught up on most of it, and I'm just like, what? I was sleeping on this show. It's such like, I don't know. I just love it. It gives me the warm fuzzies.
It does. It's equal parts ridiculous and equal parts absolutely heartwarming.
Oh, absolutely. Like the ridiculous, like Toru making Kobayashi an idol, but like only in her eyes. Like, I
Yes.
just love that so much.
And you can't forget Ilulu turning Kobayashi into a man in one of the episodes. And
Yeah.
my wife still laughs at the scene where Ilulu is like pushing her boobs against Kobayashi, being like, take out your lustful urges on me. And Kobayashi just slaps her boobs. It's like, get your tits out of my face. I'm a woman.
Oh my gosh. And like the animation on that is so painful looking. She's got like a big red like hand mark on her boob, and I'm just like trying to think what that would. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that appreciate you following me. Yeah, it just looks so painful, and so like voicing that like slap as Ilulu gets slapped right in the boob, I'm like, I can channel this, you know, because man,
It's real.
the pain is rough, man.
You could feel that without being there, but anime physics makes it
man.
unreal.
Of course.
I actually direct messaged Kyle a tweet, and it was like this. You know how they'll make like, I don't know what they are. It's like in those really expensive restaurants, but they're like very wobbly, like bubble things that you like pop, and it's like stuff that falls down like air type stuff. It's really, really fancy restaurant stuff, but it like wobbles like jello, and it's like anime girls when they move half an inch, and it's just like it's like, well, you know, that ain't where's the lie though? Oh,
That
I
ain't the
can it now. See my face a little bit there. Forgot to turn it on.
It's fine. I don't have one of those cool lights behind the computer. I just got like a basic setup. I have a little desktop lamp beside me.
Hey, it works. I mean, what I'm using is this thing hooked onto a hanger. So, you know, I'm not really exactly advanced over here.
I have a ring light USB that's way over there, but it's bright enough, so it works.
No, yeah, it's working.
It's like I'm in a very dark corner in my room.
Y'all are one-upping me. I can't even use mine.
Oof.
He's still waiting to get a decent setup to where he can be on video every week. His problem is he works 2 jobs, and so he doesn't have a lot of time to do things.
Yeah, I feel that.
And,
Well, and because of that, you get to enjoy Kumagawa or Zenobia every week instead.
And for those of you who have been following the show for a while, especially since we switched to YouTube, you've noticed I don't have a figure here with me. I did go to an anime store yesterday, but they didn't have any Kobayashi Dragon Maid figures out. Partially because they all run over $200, and not many people in the northern New England, New York area really have that much money to spend on anime figures at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to try to sit this up because we got to meet the lovely Sarah Wiedenhaft at Bakuretsu-Con a couple years ago, so just before the pandemic hit. And she signed this wonderful piece, which we usually have hanging in the kitchen. But if I put it where I normally put the figures, you wouldn't see anything but that, which is probably an improvement, but, you know.
I have to step away for just 1 second, but I will be right back.
And so that's why no figure tonight. I did end up buying a figure. The whole reason we went to the anime store was they got the Yuna Nendroid in from Kuma Bear, and everybody knows I'm addicted to that.
Oh, I love Kuma Bear.
And I'm so addicted to that show. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh,
So-
it's so cute.
It's hard to see, but on the over the elliptical there on the bottom shelf is the Yuna Nendroid, which will probably make an appearance next, not next week, but the next time we go live, because next Sunday we'll be at AAC in Westford, Mass.
Ooh, fun.
Now, being able to voice this adorable little Spitfire, Ilulu.
Yes.
What was it like to see her transition? As you were saying, she goes from this ball of fire, I'm going to destroy everything, to working at, I think it's gone this far in the story.
It's an Oboro.
Yeah, working at a little candy shop for kids.
Yeah. No, it was actually interesting because I also kind of had to transition with her, because I was like, whenever she was kind of rolling in that direction, I wasn't really sure where it was going to end up, because I hadn't seen too far ahead, and so I hadn't seen like how her arc was going. And so it was actually like my like learning about like her easing into human society kind of mirrored her easing into human society, because there were certain lines that I would like read and he's like, all right, well, let's take a little bit of the like chaos and a little bit more of like the touching tone in that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so like I was also having to kind of like learn how to rein in the chaos. Still have it, still have what we were talking, the little salt bay of chaos in there. But I actually did have to kind of like also go with her on that journey and be like, okay, like learn how to exist in human society, even though you like, it's fun to be chaotic.
And it was, like I said, she fastly became one of my favorite characters. Absolutely, probably what everybody loves. Kana was a great character in the first season. I think Ilulu has taken her place for cuteness factor in my mind, just because of her story arc. You get like Kana was sweet when she first came in, not really aggressive or anything like that. Getting to see the growth, and Darren, you and I both enjoy a good character arc where you get to see growth in the characters. And to see Ilulu go from I'm going to destroy Earth to I want to live here. I want Kobayashi to fool me. I want to, just coexist with everybody. Was
mm-hmm.
So
she wants the love that she never got to get growing up after that. She wants
basically a female Vegeta. Because think about it. He came to destroy Earth, ended up living there, and ended up starting a family there. So
that's it. That's the bottom line. She's Vegeta with boobies.
But not gonna lie, when I first saw her character design, it reminded me of a very, very bad show that I watched years ago. It was done in like the early 2000s. It was called Icon. It was only 2 episodes, because that's how bad it was. And there was I think there was one character that looked just like her could barely see over her chest and was that short.
Truth be told, it's so funny because like I feel like people expect me to feel strongly about her chest one way or another. But it's anime, and so I'm not too worried about it. And I've been asked before, like, oh, how do you feel about her being like so cute but so well endowed? And I'm like, she's an anime character, and I love her. She's adorable. And the show has lots of like goofy kind of pseudo fan servicey type stuff. And I'm really like not affected by it one way or another. Because as we hear lots of times in the booth, Rachel, because anime. Because anime. And so I'm like, it's interesting, speaking of, her endowments and everything. I'm just not like, I'm neutral on it. I'm like, hey, cool. I love her design. I think she's wonderful. And I think she has a fantastic little cloak that I want one of my own just to walk around the house in. And the size of her chest really is like irrelevant to me, because I just like her as a character overall.
And I remember when Uzaki-chan came out, Twitter, and there was a big war with her over her body dimensions being unrealistic. And really, people, you need to find better things to argue about than a fictional character's body style.
I was like, in anime, there's way worse things that happen. So
yeah, I mean,
it's just, and it's also like I've just voiced them. I'm not them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just my voice coming out of her. What do you? Yeah. That's just how she is drawn. That's how she is built. That's how she. Because like, I'll admit, like the first time I saw Elma, I was like, wow, she has got some big boobs. And then I looked at everyone else. I was like, oh no, she's got like average sized boobs for this show. I was
Pretty
like,
much.
we're good.
And then if for those of you who enjoyed our special, you'd find that me, Darren, our friend Jeremy, all say Kobayashi is smashable. We did a smash or trash special, 18 plus, where my wife came up with 51 characters.
Oh my gosh.
It was over a 3-hour long special. So if you haven't seen it, go back through the archives after the show tonight or tomorrow. Check it out. It's really funny. We did trick my friend Jeremy with a trap at the end, which Darren and I knew exactly who it was. When the picture came up, we didn't know anything ahead of time of the characters. Like, my wife did this in secret. She would not let me look at the notebook. She went into the bedroom, locked herself in there as she was setting up all the pictures. No clue what was going on. And yeah, we had so much fun with that. We want to look at doing that again in the future. So keep an eye out on our channel for when the next one goes. We like doing it live, and we're going to do probably 25 characters, so it's not like a 3-hour marathon show again.
That or a lightning round, you know?
Now, with talking about Elma, she is a unique character. She's a water dragon, as opposed to being part of the chaos factor like Toru and Ilulu are. And she has a long history of being around humans, trying to help humans coexist, prevent wars, things like that. And it all is basically because she likes to eat.
That's absolutely accurate. And honestly, that's it's not the best excuse I've had for like that's not the best excuse like I've heard, but like it's pretty decent. She likes what humans make, and she's like, well, make it for me now. I'm a dragon lady. And you know, respect.
And Elma is you almost have to look at all of the dragons in the series, and Elma is almost like the most adult or most mature of them. Fafnir is a kid in his own way.
Yeah.
Everybody says he's powerful, but he throws temper tantrums like crazy if he doesn't get his way.
I mean, Elma's mature in some ways, but she's definitely immature in other ways. Like if someone eats her food that is not theirs, she'll let you know. But yeah, I would agree that she's kind of more mature, I guess. Or she realizes more of what her actions cause to other people than the rest of the chaos faction, which tracks because they're chaos, so why would they care?
Except when it comes to her workload, which Kobayashi was doing her normal plus Elma's up until a certain point in season 2.
Yeah.
I think we've gone that far.
Yeah,
I forget what's this. Okay, episode 8. I watched it like a couple days ago and have been doing a bunch of other stuff, so I'm trying to remember how far it is, because I don't want to spoil anything for you ladies, because as you said, you like to go with the series as you record.
Well, I just finished recording episode 9 on last Monday, so I'm pretty up and up about it.
I don't think either of y'all are going to have much to do in episode 10, if I remember correctly.
That's fair.
And I do know that some of the storyline of Toru and Elma walking, in previous lives, that some of that stuff was very like sentimental, and in a series in season 1 where it seemed like it was very comedic, season 2 gets a little bit more serious with the backstories. And what was it like to go from the goofiness of season 1 to, okay, my character is more predominant in season 2. She plays more of an important role in season 2 in the growth and the history of how all these other characters interact.
Oh, I freaking loved it. I was only in, I think, 4 episodes in season 1, and most of those were like filler-ish episodes. So it was really, really delightful to be able to actually dive in and figure out, like, where does Elma live? What does she like doing when she's not around Miss Kobayashi? Which the answer is eating. But
or playing in the stream and not using her perception blocker.
Yes, or playing in the stream. But she's a water dragon, so I'll let that pass. It's always good whenever you get more information that you don't necessarily have to now make up anymore, because previous to that, I would just be like, this is how I would say it, and Kyle's not steering me in a different direction, so that's how we're gonna go. But now that there's information on like what her past is with Toru, it makes a lot more sense. And I wish I had known about it, like, so it would inform what I did in the first season. But yeah, you live, you learn, you get more information. So, but I love Elma so much. She's such a delight.
No, we weren't able to get Sarah Ragsdale on the show. We had reached out to her, but I think scheduling wise things didn't work out. But what is your opinion on Psychoa? She does a great job at Psychoa.
She does do a great job with Psychoa. I don't interact very much. Elma doesn't interact very much with Psychoa. My opinion of Sarah Ragsdale, however, I know her in real life, and she's a delight.
She's so sweet.
She is so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, so nice.
And just like bubbly, and will talk to anybody. Yeah.
Yes. And she means it. It's not like any kind of like
I don't ever feel like I'm being like networked with or anything like that. She's genuine.
She's just a genuine delight. And I think it's because she worked as a front of house manager for a theater, so like she had to talk to people and like figure out how to talk to people. But she is just a genuine delight. And the first time I heard her as Psychoa in an episode when I watched season 1 again, I was like, that's Sarah? She sounds great.
Oh,
she sounds insane, which works.
Yeah,
well
I mean, I was gonna say, she pulls off like the Psychoa psycho.
Oh, it's delightful. Oh, so good.
Yeah. As a fan of the show, you see the characters grow, as we've talked a lot about tonight. And with Psychoa, it's like she scares me. It's like she's an adorable character, but she scares me when it comes to
She's scarier than any of the dragons,
honestly.
She's just like, she is like unhinged sometimes, and just like way too just like possessive, and
there's no filter. I love it.
No, it's great. And like you can tell that, like, I love the gif that goes around of her just like happily feeling the tummies of Ilulu and Kana, yeah. And she's just like so excited. She's like just getting to rub their tummies, and she's just such a weirdo, and I love it so much.
I love it.
And like whenever they had to lock them in the bathroom with it, like her and Ilulu's like, man, this girl's crazy. And this is Ilulu saying this.
I know, Ilulu's in there like, can I help you? And she's like, Psychoa adds an interesting personality mix into an anime full of interesting personalities. Everybody, that's one of the cool things about this series. If you haven't seen it, every character brings their own personality into the series. And in some cases, you worry, like, if you were to meet people like this in real life, you would probably be afraid of exactly what would happen at a party like that. But it works so well in the show. All of you guys do an amazing job playing off each other in the series. And really hats off to all of you for the work that you guys do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I think it helps, sometimes, we get to play off of each other. Other times we don't. For instance, if you're like the first to record for an entire episode, you have nobody to play off of.
All the time. I don't know why I get scheduled first all the time. I'm like, Kyle, there's no one here. It's just me.
But that's what I was going to say is like, that's where Kyle's experience as a director comes in.
So good.
Because all of the lines have chemistry no matter when you recorded. And because he's like so good at being consistent and like where he wants to go with it. And so like, I appreciate you saying that, but obviously I feel like I can't take all the credit.
No, definitely. Kyle gets most of that because I feel like he can hear each of us in his head, which bless.
Even if he hasn't actually heard us in real life. Yeah, like for that particular episode.
He's like, I know kind of the intonation that I think that they'll go for, so this is what you need to kind of go for. And how can I steer that without giving you a line read? And sometimes if it's like a noise or something, Kyle will just make a noise at me and I'll just repeat it. It's the best part. So he just goes, and I'm like,
yeah, and then we're good. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, perfect.
Right. Sometimes you get like trapped. It's being called trapped in a read.
Yeah.
And if it's just where you cannot get this one particular read, whether it be a sound, whether it be a like just a line, a short line, no matter what. Sometimes you just get in a position where the only way that it comes out of you is the exact same way every single time.
Yeah.
And that's whenever, the directors have to come in and just be like, okay, say it like this. And then you come in and then you just repeat it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it
Delightful.
just snaps you out of that really, really quickly. But it's cool working with him because he doesn't line read you hardly at all, unless it's like down to that moment where it's like, okay, no, you're like, we get trapped in a read. And sometimes I'm like, hey, help, because I know that I'm trapped in this read and I'm sorry. Like I know when to call it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this one, man.
Yeah.
We were just talking actually before we went live that recording with him is fun because he's always singing. Always singing or beatboxing.
Always. And then if you start beatboxing at him or singing with him, he he gets more into it, like really enthusiastic. He'll add to your beat. And it's really fun with lag. Because I usually go at Funimation Studios and I'm in my booth by myself, and then Kyle has called in and so has the engineer called in. And so it's just me in a booth, and like where I would normally see the engineer and Kyle, it's just nobody. It's a ghost town up there.
It's terrifying. It feels like the end of the world.
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
But
feels like the Armageddon has come and gone.
Yeah. So weird. Especially whenever they started like patching holes and stuff. I was like, no, we live here. Stop.
And that was another thing I wanted to talk about is when the pandemic hit last year, it put a big halt and a big change on the anime industry as a whole.
Yeah.
I know in Japan, a lot of times the voice actors, most of them would be in the same room and do a read together, where in the US, you all would be in individual booths at separate times to record. As you said, you'd see the director, producer, sound engineer in another room, but you could see them, you could see motions or things of that nature. Now, where a lot of stuff was done remotely, how has that helped to grow you guys as voice actors to better adapt to a sudden change like that? I know in many cases you had to start doing some of your own editing to move the lines to match the flaps and things. So you learned some new skills as well, which you may not have known prior. How has that helped you to become better actors for roles like in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?
Well, for me, I have a PC, and the way Funimation was doing it whenever the pandemic very first hit was they weren't doing Source Connect. They were doing where I was just recording into my computer and then giving them the files. So we actually had to do all of our engineering here. And what I ended up finding out was that I can't I can't actually see, and whenever my closet's closed, so I was trying to feel around for my keyboard and trying to actually move things around in Adobe Premiere. And it was just having to do my engineering and also listen to direction and also act was just so mentally taxing and so hard. But once they started getting it a little more streamlined, they do it through Source Connect now. And that has taken all of the work off of me. All I have to do is just have a tablet for my script, and the engineer is on the Source Connect call. And so he's the one actually, or, she or she is the one recording you and getting everything in their computer. And you're not having to do any of that anymore. And it's been both a blessing and a curse, because a curse starting out, I feel like I was just every single time I got out of the booth, I was like, I hate this. I hate myself. Because whenever you're trying to engineer yourself, it's so difficult. But it gave way to a lot of opportunities because the slow in production gave directors more time to audition for characters and stuff. And I feel no matter how many roles I do or don't book, the constant auditioning that I'm getting to do these days has helped me improve massively as an actor, even more so than some of the daily practice I was doing beforehand. This has been a really good time and a really good opportunity to actually experience my own range and find new things that my voice will do that formerly I didn't get to audition for, and also emotional range, how far I can go one way or another. And it's really taught me a lot about how to self-direct and stuff. And without the slow in production, I feel like I wouldn't have been given so many opportunities. And I'm really thankful for those opportunities. So I think overall, for me, it has helped me grow as an actor, even just getting to audition the extra amount of times that I've gotten to. And I've been really thankful for that because, it has led to me getting roles like Ilulu and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it ended up, it was awful at first. And it's awful that the entire pandemic happened to begin with. But as far as like voice acting goes, I do feel like it has helped me. And especially now that we're not having to engineer ourselves.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think during the start of the prime of the pandemic, whenever Funimation and pretty much every other studio slowed down, it didn't disappear, though. I think it's the important thing, like a lot of other industries did or suffered. I went to a specific voiceover conference, and by went to, I mean virtually because it was over Zoom, called VO Atlanta, and one of the presenters was like, voice acting is one of the only career paths that actually grew during the pandemic because people could do it in their house. And it grew specifically for me because prior to the pandemic, I didn't have a setup at my house. I just relied on my like friggin' phone microphone to do auditions and stuff like that. Terrible. But then I, at the beginning of the pandemic, when I saw the way the world was going, I bought my rig off Sweetwater and I was like, here we go, we're gonna try this. But yeah, I agree with what Kristi said, is that's definitely given more time to actually have auditions and stuff, because I remember pre-pandemic getting an audition at Funimation maybe twice a year, maybe.
Yeah, and it was just due to the speed of like things being produced and the timeline that they were being produced on.
And I remember in the pandemic, I feel like the only show that was still being dubbed pretty quickly was My Hero Academia. I feel like that was like one of the only ones that kept up the schedule, and then everything else just kind of went, ooh, we're gonna dial everything back now.
Yeah, it was a really unique experience, but yeah, being able to do it from home. And interestingly enough, before everything shut down, like a month before was whenever I bought like my like industry standard like broadcast quality mic. And then the pandemic shut everything down, and I was like, damn, I got in at the right time. Like, oh my gosh. And like my boyfriend had just like built me a really nice PC, like just like several months before. And it was just, oh my god, it was the sweetest gift, because because my computer before that sucked. And like getting it to run like Snake, like an old Nokia phone, was a struggle. Like, that thing is, it's bad. And so I booked a Smite audition, and he like for Christmas and my birthday combined, he like made me a nice computer. And he's like, I wanted you to be able to play your character in Smite. And I'm like, stop, you're so sweet. So I can't take credit for, buying my computer, but I just bought my mic, and I'm actually still buying stuff for my home setup. These I actually just got like on Monday, and these blocks sound out a lot better. My former ones were just like cheapos, and I ended up like, I'm the kind of person who like, I like my monitors up so loud that I want to be able to like hear my food digesting in the mic. Like, I love it loud, but they were bleeding so much sound that it was getting into the mic again. And they're like, hey, we're getting feedback on you, so can you turn your stuff down? I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. And so yeah, exactly. And so yeah, like what you were saying, Rachel, it made me get my own home setup, and it made me get, the closet of blankets and hangers. And but overall, I think my setup obviously has had to grow during all of this, and I'm so glad that it made me finally pull the trigger on buying a nicer mic and buying better headphones. And praise the Lord in heaven, a light up keyboard. I can actually see it now. Sorry, I knocked everything off.
That's awesome.
Be right back.
Hey, one of our wonderful listeners or viewers out in the chat room, Adorable Cosplayer, says a pandemic has pushed me to pursue my dream of moving from stage to voice acting.
Well, that's awesome.
Oh. I think that, voice acting is absolutely wonderful, but I feel like stage and voice acting are not mutually exclusive. Because I still do some theater whenever I have the time
I
to.
do too.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole Taco Bell commercial, what is it, like Porque lo no dos? Like,
why not both? Yeah.
yeah, why not both?
Yeah.
So I absolutely chase voice acting, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go upstage.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of acting is acting, and whether it's voice acting or stage acting, one's going to help you with the other and the other way around. So, you don't have to choose between one or the other for sure.
Voice acting will not help you with script memorization for stage. That is all I can tell you. If anything, it will do the opposite, and you'll be like,
"Oh my god, it'll
I have
spoil
to
you."
memorize.
Yeah, yeah, it'll spoil you because I'm like
so spoiled.
Yeah, I joke that I read out loud for a living, like, because really, I mean, I'm just like the script is right there, but then you do something stage and you're like, wait, I gotta be off book.
Wait,
by 3 weeks? I can't do that.
That's ridiculous. And they're like, you're in 4 scenes, and I'm like, I'm in 4 scenes.
Yeah.
Just got my first stage auditions.
Oh, that's exciting!
Yay, good job.
Yay! Break a leg on it.
Yeah. We have had a Dorkable cosplayer on the show in the past. She's an awesome person.
Cool.
That's
exciting to hear.
Yeah, I had to do. It was a melodrama, and I didn't have to do it. I did it for a friend, but I was like the ingenue of the melodrama, and it was so much fun. But I was literally not off book until like a week before, and I was like, "You guys don't understand. I don't have to do this anymore."
I'm so spoiled now.
Really?
Because my memories already sucks anyway, but oh boy. And also memorizing blocking and stuff like that. Luckily, good blocking feels natural, but at the same time, like doing that in lines, I'm just like sweating more than I should. Yeah. I'm like, give me lines right in front of my face in a video of a person I don't even look like. That's what I need.
The air conditioning and headphones.
I can stand here wearing no pants and no one will know.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so if you're a voice actor, no joke, if you're a voice actor and you want to act like you haven't once auditioned in your underwear in your closet, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
You're a dirty liar.
You know it.
You are a liar. You have been in some stage of undress and your home booth at some point. Don't lie.
Unless you have your air conditions hooked up to it, and then I don't want to talk to you.
Well, heck, even then, if I had that, am I going to put on blue jeans to go in my home studio?
Absolutely not. No.
No. At least PJs, man.
I mean, I won't lie. There have been times when I've just been sitting here in shorts or underwear to do the show, because before August, we didn't even have video. We were strictly audio only. So, I could have been sitting here stark naked and nobody would have ever known.
I was like, it's fine. You're not going to see me. It's fine.
No, yeah. I didn't know, whenever the pandemic first hit, I didn't know if Funimation was going to need like camera just to kind of like have feedback with the actors and stuff. I had no idea what they were expecting. So I just I had a crappy webcam. I was like, yeah, sure. And I think I did like one session where I like had the potential of a camera, and we ended up, I think, not using it. But yeah, I was so glad to know now, especially during the summer, because I do it in a closet. I mean, obviously I got blankets and like a dress, like an old dress behind me. And so there's no AC in here. And I mean, I'm glad there's not, because then there'd be noise, but there's no air conditioning in here.
Yeah, they do.
They do get extraordinarily hot. Yes. And so like my closet that I actually voice act out of is actually like my boyfriend's closet. And so I'm like, you got to go in another room for a minute, like, because not only are you going to be really questioning what I'm doing in the closet, but also I'm not doing this with clothes on. Even though you're my boyfriend, I don't want you to just see me like yelling without my clothes. Like, that's super freaking weird.
Yeah, I feel like the only time they needed my video on was whenever they were like, "What's your setup? Can we see your setup? Oh, can you throw a blanket over your door before you close it?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, absolutely, I can do that." Stop looking at me afterwards, though. Goodbye.
Yeah, it's my setup is just like, this is a blanket I bought at Walmart, and then like there's like an old blanket of my boyfriend's that he had back from the day, and it's got like, basketballs and soccer balls and baseball bats on it, your typical like stereotypical like little boy blanket, and like some of his like mom's old coats and stuff. Like, I mean, every time you shut the door you hear like a bunch of clanking because there's still like belts hanging on a hook in the door. Like, I mean, this thing is, it works. It works.
Yeah.
And I know with season 1, after that had gotten dubbed, they had released the outtakes for the season 1 of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yeah.
Do you hope that there's outtakes for season 2, or do you look back at some of the things that have happened and been like, that needs to not ever be aired?
Again? Outtakes, I'm all about them.
I would love for Kyle to release those, or any if they're on the friggin' disc or anything. But oh gosh, what was I gonna say? Kyle used to be, he used to leave bombs. He'd let other people like leave you terrible things, and then he'd try to get your honest reaction. He doesn't do that as much anymore, at least not for me. I don't know if he does that for you, Kristi.
Yeah, no, I haven't encountered a bomb in a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but
yeah,
it used to be someone would like, I think someone would like the character's line would be like, "Oh, be quiet," and then the line would be, "What rating is this? Can I curse? Is that
if
okay?"
you want to curse, go right ahead. We've kind of eased up.
Then he'd have the actor also go, "Shut the fuck up!" Like really loud, like that's a bomb. He leaves a bomb for you, and then you'd get your honest reaction of, "You shut the fuck." Like this voice in your ear telling you to shut the fuck up, and so then you'd say your line, but.
I love it so much. Because like I remember there was a bomb. I had I have green hair actually. This is just a wig. But like I have green hair. And whenever I was recording for the show Citrus, I think I had purple hair. And I can't remember. No. Okay, sorry. Forget the purple hair. Nix that. I'm thinking of a different thing. Sorry. Anyhow, so I had green hair, and then I remember my character in the show had pink hair. And Amber Lee Connors, her character, was supposed to come up behind my character and like take off her headphones and say something like, "You better get off my school's property," or something very threatening. Yeah. And then she's the bomb that they left for me was like, she takes off her headphones and she's like, "That pink hair looks stupid. You look way better with green hair." And like, and I just was like, "What?" But the thing is like, it's sad because I feel like bombs to a certain degree don't work on me as much as they do other people, because I do live radio and I have to be ready for like anything thrown at me, like people like heckling me off in the distance if I'm doing like a live appearance thing. And so I'm really good at like tuning like nonsense out and then just like getting my message said. And so sometimes they were just like, I'm like, I was focused on doing my job. I'm sorry. And it's just like, there are like one or two that have like really gotten me, but then otherwise I was like, oh, that was a bomb. Okay. Like, I'm really bad about that. And I feel like I take the fun out of it. I'm a killjoy but I'm like, I'm just ready for it due to my job.
Yeah.
And it's, we've heard a lot of funny stories over the past about the bombs that people have left. And I feel that since the pandemic, where all of you are working from home in many cases, Funimation, I think, will allow 1 or 2 people in to record at sporadic times for safety reasons and everything, understandably. So I don't think there's as much chance due to the time restraints to leave bombs as much as he did before.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mostly,
and also you don't.
Yeah,
go ahead. I was just going to say, you don't want anyone saying anything just like super duper inappropriate, especially if they say it in character, that kind of thing.
And also it's because like you have so many different engineers working on a project at one point. Like if if they'll say the line is "I can see you," and then I say "I can see you, bitch," like if I added something like that, and then the engineer who gets it next doesn't know that "I can see you, bitch" is not supposed to be in there, and they do "I can see you, bitch" as the actual real take instead of "I can see you," someone be very in trouble. So like I think they don't want that happening anymore. I'm not really sure like what or maybe other directors do it, and Kyle was just like, yeah, no, I'm done. Not really sure, but
by the way, Leanne Engler, thank you. I'm glad that you think Citrus was a great show. I loved being on it.
That's my wife. She is at work. I think she has it up on her phone.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, how familiar does that sound?
Jared, do you have any Dragon Maid related questions?
At the moment, I think you pretty much hit all the ones I was going to ask. Give me time. I'll think of something.
We put you on the spot and your mind goes blank.
Well, at least you didn't talk to a sleeping version of me.
And now with Dragon Maid, and we've talked a lot about that tonight. As you said, your characters don't interact a ton. I tried looking for pictures of just Ilulu and Elma together, and I found one that's a thumbnail for this, but it's actually clipped where it's all 6 dragons and your 2 characters happen to be standing beside each other. So I just clipped that little pit for the thumbnail for
gotcha.
Beautiful.
Because I mean, like I said, these are 2 of my favorite characters from the show. So it's an honor to have, like I said, it's an honor to have both of you joining us. And I know, Kristi, we were talking on emails. I did try to reach out to many voice actors to come on the show, including talking with Sarah Wiedenhaft at Kineticon last month, but she is in the process, I think, of moving this month. So a lot of stuff going on. Because I was like, come on, Toru, you can't have a Lulu stage, upstage in you. You're trying to poke the bear a little bit, but...
No, moving is heck. So no shame in that.
Going back to like where you said that Ilulu and Elma don't really interact on screen. That's one of the hard things about anime is like I know that I'm in a show with Kristi, but like I never hear her voice in my ear after
because we don't have a lot of scenes together. Like the only scene that I can think of where I've heard your voice actually while I'm recording is the opening fight scene where exactly, where she is just happens to be in the same scene when Ilulu shows up. And so I hear music.
That is my clock in the background.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this sounds whimsical all of a sudden. No, and that's interesting. Because just that part was whenever I get to hear you, and so hearing you later on in the show, whenever I watch it, I'm like, it's interesting, and especially since A, pandemic, and B, even pre-pandemic, as far as like actors in shows that I'm in, even if I'm like playing next to somebody for an entire season, I may not have ever met them in real life before.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like you know them, but like you don't actually know them.
So like for instance,
so strange.
The show The Ones Within, I was one of the characters that played alongside Justin Briner, and I heard him every time I recorded for the show, but I had only like really met him in passing like once or twice, and he's really nice. I just didn't know him like at all. And I get the feeling that people mistake we might record together also, similar to the way they would do like any kind of prelay. But the truth is I would say of all the shows I'm in, there's a greater number of people I haven't met than I have met.
Especially during the pandemic, because like pre-pandemic, you could maybe catch them in like the waiting room,
the lobby,
maybe, and you'd be like, "Oh, is that what they actually look like? Oh, hi,
like the voice sounds familiar, and you're just like, oh, that's you."
It's like I've met Justin Briner in passing too, but like I was in a show with him in Stars Align, and I was like, he was like my best friend in the show, and I was like, I don't know him. They're like, "Oh, you know Justin Briner." I was like, "No, I don't." I know of him.
Yeah, a lot of the people I know of, especially because I live in Oklahoma, and so
Yeah.
like I don't even like roam around in Dallas very often, and I love Dallas. I enjoy being there, but I live in Oklahoma because it's cheap, and also because my job is here and everything, and I am. Last my boss has told me, he's like, as long as your work is done, I don't care when your butt's in the chair. And so he like lets me go and like record and everything, and I'm like, look, I cannot find this kind of job anywhere else that will just let me like, oh yeah, you're fine. Like I can't be working in like, as a barista or something and just be like, hey boss, I'm gonna go, see ya, I'll be back in 2 hours. They're not, no one's gonna let me do that. And so I live in Oklahoma, and I don't get a whole lot of exposure to other people in Dallas unless I'm like, a guest at a con, and then we've actually gotten to like talk a little bit and stuff, and Liquid Courage and all that. And so it's interesting because I think the misconception that like all the voice actors know each other is not true.
I was like, we know of each other. Sort of. Like I know
and we like
the
talk
name.
on Twitter and stuff. Yeah. But as far as like, I mean, I'm not just like hanging out with a lot of these people on the regular. There are like maybe one or two where we've like actually hung out. And like, for the most part, I'm just like, maybe they've been at like cons or parties or something that I've been to. But yeah, it's a unique experience hearing somebody way more than you've actually seen somebody.
I can imagine. And I know that, like you said, a lot of times, even pre-pandemic, you guys might be 2 booths apart recording for the same show, but you started different times, so your paths never cross. And we've had times on the show where we've done an anime-related special or brought on multiple voice actors for one show, and they may have never met face-to-face in person or talked to each other before coming on the show. And it's always neat to... especially for a fan like myself. I have no experience in the industry of voice acting, of acting. Hearing you talk about memorizing lines for a theater performance or a movie or something like that, my memory probably is worse than yours, Kristi. If I don't write stuff down, forget it.
My memory is my phone. If my phone like goes away, or if like my calendar or something gets deleted, I'm gonna get fired from all of my jobs. Like, because that's where I keep all of my scheduled stuff.
I have a wall calendar that sits above my desk. I have a planner. I have another dry erase calendar in my living room. Like if I don't write it down 4 times, it doesn't exist. Like I will miss it.
Same.
I have the trusty notebook for like, this is my guest notebook. You can see all from, I don't want to show the page, but I've got that many pages of guests that I've had on the show since we switched to Blog Talk Radio prior, and it's like, okay, that's how I remember who's coming on the show. When I reach out to you guys, I'm like, let me get home and see what the calendar looks like as to what open dates I have. I have to look at the notebook. I've lost too many pocket calendars.
Oh man, yeah, like. Oh, man, my phone. I again, that's my life. And I have like a dry erase in my office because whenever I'm not like on the air, I'm basically like a glorified event planner. I'm the promotions director, which sounds fancy until you realize that I'm the person that like, hey, if we need like a wheel to spin and get a prize, I'm the one who just has to go on Amazon and order the wheel. Like I'm the one that has to do all of that. And so I have to like keep stuff like that in my calendar, and also like recording sessions and like when auditions are due and stuff. And I've gotten really, really good. I've gotten really good at, no matter what state I'm in as far as mindset. If I ever get a text or an email from anybody like wanting to schedule me, no matter how, if I'm having a girls' night, no matter how drunk I am, I know how to accurately put these things in my calendar, because I know if I do not, and I get the text when I'm drinking, and then the next day Kristi is not going to remember the text. No. So I like have to do it right then. And maybe I'll just have something kind of sloppy there as a placeholder for me to like look at tomorrow. But I just like have to write it down instantaneously, or else it's just gone out of my head.
I feel bad being the kind of guy that can normally plan out his schedule off the top of his head without even looking at a calendar.
Oh no!
I mean, don't feel bad for that.
Don't feel bad.
Yeah, I'm envious.
The world would fall apart if people like that didn't exist. So,
Bingo.
Lord.
A lot of times I'll just be heading to one of my clients, and then it'll pop into my head that, oh wait, I got another client that I need to do today, and oh, they just happen to be in the same area, even if it is slightly out of the way.
Jealous. Can't relate.
Can't relate.
Although I'm one of those people, like, I can't remember things, but I'll think about a lot of stuff, especially like I'll be at work doing a mindless job on a vehicle. We've had some recalls come in on the F-150s where the AC vent on some of the newer F-150s goes out the front of, into the engine compartment, and it leaks through. As it drips, it leaks through the carpeting and makes the carpet wet on the passenger front corner.
Love that.
Which
Great when that happens.
I've had to replace the floor carpet and the firewall insulation on 4 F-150s now, which requires taking every seat out, the dashboard out, and the AC system out. So basically gutting the inside of the truck.
Oh boy.
And I think of a lot, like I think it was doing one of those. I'm like, I should do a Dragon Maid special. I should. Who can I reach out to? I need to reach out to this one. And I'm thinking of like different voice actors and stuff. And you always hear people talk about the dub versus sub war and things like that. I watch both, but the dubs for me are easier because I usually have a lot going on between a wife who's an artist making cosplay, works part-time. I work full-time. We have a 3-year-old and 2 cats.
Yeah. So you don't have necessarily time to keep eyes on something all the time. Listening is easier. Yeah, that's another thing. Speaking of the sub versus dub war, I think that people might have a misconception that we as voice actors will be offended if you say that you prefer subs, which is not the case at all. I can't think of a single like dub actor or actress who have been offended if you're just like, subs are more my thing. So, and I completely see the validity of both of them, and it's all boils down to preference. And it's interesting that you mentioned, you watch both sub and dub. I feel like that's a war that doesn't need to exist, because like really dub actors are like, no, it's fine, watch the subs, it's totally cool. The only time that it's ever like weird is like if somebody's like really rude about it or something like that, or they're just like kind of hateful and like act like your job's not a real job, then I'm like, why are you mean? But then otherwise, like if they're not being mean about it, like none of us are bothered by that. You're allowed to have whatever preference it is you want.
See, it comes down to accessibility to me. I was like, you're watching the show, it's fine. And also like the reason why we localize and we have dubs is so that it can reach a wider audience. So like, why would you take away an English dub from someone who maybe is visually impaired and can't actually watch the anime, So like, it's just different accessibility for different needs. So if you want to read and hear it in the J or the original language, that's totally fine. But what I love the most is that it's only really you hear the discourse about English dubs. It's never the German dub or the Spanish dub is terrible. It's always the English dub. And I'm like, they dub in other languages, right?
Right. People always consider it's like, Japan versus, the United States against each other. It's like, no. And like what you said, accessibility and also localization for like jokes to make sense, because sometimes there are jokes that don't make sense in English and they do in Japanese, and so adapting them so that they do make sense is like really cool, and like it's fun to see that take on it, and those jokes actually hit because they're written for an English speaking audience. And freaking props to the adapters for that.
They're so good. I mean, like if you listen back to like early 2000s dubs, maybe you're like, oh, it's terrible. But like we've grown since then. Like the localization has gotten pretty great. Where you just maybe they're saying slang or whatever that's not necessarily going to be relevant in the next 5 years, but most anime isn't relevant in the next 5 years unless it's really special. Like anime comes out so quickly, like they churn out so much content. Like can you tell me an anime from like 5 years ago? More than 5 of them, unless you're like a really big true fan. Probably not. I mean,
I'm actually wearing the shirt of one of them right now with
There you go.
Inuyasha.
there you go. I was like Inuyasha, Dragon Ball Z, like friggin' Full
Trigun.
Metal Trigun, yes, Full Metal Alchemist. Like you can name
Rosario
like the big ones,
Vampire,
Rosario,
Girls Bravo,
but like all
Golden
the
Boy. Let's go.
the
Let's
other
go way
ones that are
back with
just
that.
12 episodes and then they're done, and that's the lasting imprint that they have is like someone. It was important to like, I don't know, 10 people. Amazing. Like it's
And my cat has to make her weekly appearance.
Yay! Oh, look at the little
You're so
beans. The
This
little
is
black
Haru.
beans. Hello, Haru.
We named her after my roommate is a cat, the Haru on there.
Oh, baby.
She has to
Yeah,
come
it's
for
really
her
sad.
attention, get her
Oh my
camera
gosh.
time.
What a beautiful little baby.
My dog heard me baby talking. He just ran to me. Hello.
Yes, you're beautiful, Haru. Everybody loves you.
Oh, my heart, so cute. I have a cat at my cat at my apartment, but and she's just the most talkative little thing. At my boyfriend's house, in this particular room.
On the couch there is Ainz.
Hello,
Aw.
Ainz. So
Yes,
cute.
named after Ainzel Gon from Overlord. Yeah, we're weebs. You know, we named our cats after anime characters. We named
That's
our
fair.
daughters
Hey,
after anime
totally
characters.
fine.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, nerdy cat names are where it's at. My cat, I call her Dottie, but my cat's name is actually cat.com. And so, but I just call her Dottie.
My
But
cat's
anyway,
name is Merlin. So
yeah, perfect. We all have like nerdy cat names. It's great. But anyway, no, I'm actually recording, like I said, in my boyfriend's closet, and in this particular room, his cat's not allowed in here because she has a cord chewing problem.
Uh-oh.
And so all of the cords that are outside of the closet leading to my computer and like, my little interface here in the closet, the cords to that are all leading out of the closet. And Sophie likes her spicy spaghetti. And so we don't allow her in this room because there's lots of spicy spaghetti in this room. And we don't want my freaking Scarlet to go out because I had a cat chew through the cord of it. And so I had to buy a new power supply thing for it. But yeah, so the cat is not allowed in here, but she's orange. So yeah, she won't be on camera, but there she will be in the other room thinking about spicy spaghetti.
Now, I'm curious, Kristi, with doing radio work as well, have you been able to mix the two between your voice acting career and the radio?
Occasionally, yeah. It's actually funny. I loved I think it was called Wave Listen to Me. It was an anime about a radio station that had come out, I guess, a couple of months ago, maybe like a little over 6 months ago, I guess. But anyway, I got to voice background radio voices in that. And so that was awesome because I just got to like do my like day job and just like the director was like, yeah, so figured I could call you in for this role and do like the background radio voices. And I'm like, I got you. Yes. And so I'm like really jazzed about it. And I'm getting to do all different kinds of deliveries and stuff. And it's, and then I get to do bless Jerry Jewell. Because anytime like he calls me in, he's like, hey, so you get to be a computer voice today, or you get to be newscaster A. And I'm like, yes, I love these kinds of roles. And he's like, I know, that's why I call you in for them. I'm like, you're so sweet, Jerry, thank you. Because I just get jazzed every time I get to play like some sort of like computer AI,
Yes.
or I get to do some kind of like advertisement. But one of my favorite ones is the one that I can't necessarily, I don't want to say I can't talk about it, but it's one because it was like forever ago and for a completely different thing. But I'll keep it super generic, but I got to do what we call in radio, like because everyone's like, hey, let me hear your radio voice. And I'm like, this is it, you're hearing it currently. Like, because what radio jock do you hear right now that doesn't speak in just kind of a normal human voice? But there's a special kind of delivery that is like the stereotypical like early 90s kind of radio jock delivery, and we call like in radio we call it puking it, and it's where it's like you puke every word like this. Hey, you're listening to B99.7 The Buzz, like that kind of thing, where it just sounds like you're barfing every word. And I got to like do a little like couple of lines in that, like, all right, all you kitty cats out there in space, what are you doing tonight? Well, guess what? I got a giveaway that'll blow your socks off. Like, I got to do that, and I don't ever get to do that. And so getting to do like cornball radio stuff, I love it. I love it so much.
Any cornball radio stuff, contact Kristi for promo.
She's here.
Seriously, like, man, some of the bits that I've gotten to do, like, every single time I'm in the booth, I'm thankful because you get to have so much fun with bits, and radio bits are always really fun for me. So I have a question though, Rachel, what was the weirdest bit you've done?
Oh, gotta be weird flying sheep from Ancient Magus Bride. They were just it was so stupid. It was so dumb. And it's so funny because I'm in Ancient Magus Bride as an actual character. And I got called in for Walla. And like there were 4 of us in the booth. I think that's the only time that you will see other people in the booth with you is during Walla pre-pandemic. But there were 4 of us in the booth. And if there was a scene that the Walla was in, but my character was also in, Kyle would just be like, yeah, Rachel, don't speak on this one, or be a kid in this one. But there were these little fluffy flying sheep things, and like he was like, make noise, I don't know, figure it out. So I just went because they're like flying and scuttering away. It was so fun. That one was good.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then we got called in for Walla for, I don't remember the show. It might have been Dr. Stone, but he needed a chicken noise, and he was like, everybody's gonna do it, and I will pick the best one. So we got to be a chicken who was killed.
Have a mini audition for a chicken noise.
So fun.
That's great.
Delightful.
Oh man.
And you get called in for a lot of the radio ones. I get called in for the gross little boys.
Yes!
Which is my personal favorite. It's like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm going home. Like, I love it so much.
Yes.
I had a character in One Piece named Leo, and that was basically him the whole time. Just so freaking delightful because he's like this big, and he's just full of chutzpah. And so I love it.
That's excellent. I love hearing that.
Anytime I can play a gross little child, my heart feels full.
See, yes, exactly. I don't get to voice gross little children, but I can just enjoy gross.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I'm with you on that. There was like this green like hammerhead alien. I think it was in the show Eldlive. And Sunny was like, all right, so this is not in the Japanese, but his mouth is open, so you just get to make up whatever this little alien sounds like. And it's like the ship being like shaken, and they're all like in the like a barrel of monkeys just like jambling around on the inside and jingling and stuff. And there's this like green, like hammerhead looking alien with like a spacesuit on, just like tumbling. And he's like, whatever you think that guy is going to sound like, go for it. And so I was like, I ended up just being like, and like I ended up making him like really goofy, and he was like, cool, that's what he sounds like, get on out of here. And so like bits and like weird stuff like that is just, oh my gosh, I get to have so much fun with those.
Yes, I totally agree. I have a noise that I can make on command pretty much, and I don't get to use it often because it sounds silly. But I have used it once in a Walla session, like whenever it was like my first year at Funimation, and it's just a noise, but I can do it in different tones and stuff. So it was just like almost like a Chewbacca, but like it was like a battle yell. And every time I get to use it, I just feel so vindicated.
I love that.
That I can do it and I get to use it, and it's just so good.
I love that.
And I know that we're doing a Dragon Maid special, but you ladies have been in a lot of awesome shows and had some really, really fantastic roles out there. Which of course I can't not talk about some of them, including Edelgard in How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
Yes.
She is an adorable character.
She is. It's interesting the turn she's taken in the second season. But I did love her in the first season because she softened, and in that, like, her like little arc in the first season at the very end where she's just like you can tell her guard is, finally coming down, even though she was the strongest lancer of the fallen, but yeah, she was phenomenal, and Inman's awesome for having me on as her, so I did enjoy that.
A fun little story at Kineticon, my wife cosplayed as Sylvie from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, the Guildmaster bunny.
Okay, yeah. That's awesome.
And nobody could remember her name, but everybody would walk by and be like, Guildmaster. And we forgot that Jeremy Inman had directed that.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he's a guest at Kineticon. She's in full cosplay after being judged for the masquerade. And we walk up to his table to get to meet him and stuff. And he's like, nice, Sylvie. You don't see many of those. And she's like, wait, what? He's like, I directed that. We're like, oh, crap. And we've had Jeremy on the show a couple of times. And it's like, I forgot he directed that.
Yeah. That was a fun show, and it still is. I mean, Edelgard doesn't come around a whole lot in season 2 so far, but I do get to pop in for her every now and then, which is fun, and I still enjoy, getting to voice her.
And she's another adorable character that comes out strong and then ends up getting a softer side.
Weird how that works, is it not? Same with what's her name? What's the show's name? Another Inman show. Kimono Michi. Rose in Kimono Michi. She comes out as a badass, and then she ends up being just like this doofus. They're like Team Rocket. After, like, she comes out and she's like this like ancient vampire with like a spear, and she just like whips ass. And then like by the end of it, she's just like, whoa, like doing like Team Rocket type stuff, which was super fun. And then yeah, I don't know, little gremlin things and like little like mischief makers that turn softies like in Citrus are like something that I get cast as a lot, and I enjoy every second of it.
And of course, talking about the Ancient Magus' Bride, that is a show that my wife and I really loved when it came out. And Rachel, you got to voice Silky in that.
Yes, I did. That was a trip because the way Kyle sold it to me, pre me knowing anything about the show, he was like, "Oh yeah, in the manga, she's like the narrator," and I was like, "Solid, I got that. That's in my wheelhouse. Let's go." And then she doesn't speak. All she does is mouth noise and reacts, and so literally every session was just Kyle going and me doing like in my own voice, just back and forth. It was the weirdest sessions of my life, but they were fun because all she would do is just be like just like, and she's so quiet because she doesn't have a voice but she does. And then I've had people be like, no, you didn't voice her, and I was like, bet I did. I sure did. So why am I
love that. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
I was like, she speaks in one episode. Like, she has actual sentences in one episode, and the rest is just reacts. And I was like, it's a challenge. I will take it. But what is happening?
I can imagine having to just like nonverbal everything. It reminds me of The Ones Within. Mark Allen Jr. His character, the entire time his character's on screen, and his character, it's so funny because like lines in a show does not equate popularity of character. Your character can speak tons and like not be nearly as popular as another character in the show. So never get it in your head that line count means that you're going to be a fan favorite by any means.
Yeah.
No, because his character slept the entire show. And they like, he was in every scene, but he was always like draped over something like a cat. So his character slept the entire show. And he was just like there's one scene where they're like in a bathhouse and his character's just like draped across a rock sleeping. And so the entire show, Mark was just having to snore and like breathe. And then there's like one episode where he has like his like whole story and you like finally get to hear Makino talking. But up until that point, it took him until the third episode where he had one word, which was Afro. And then And he said it like half asleep, like Afro. And like that was all he got. And then the rest of the time he's snoring. But like Makino is like up there in fan favorites of that show. And I imagine that was like such an interesting time for him to like just voice this constantly sleeping character. But then imagine like what you said, whenever your character finally talked after doing nonverbals for the entire season, you're like, wait, I
have to have a voice?
Yeah,
No!
this character has to have a voice now.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that he said. There was an episode where like his character and my character body swapped, and I was like, well, I had a great time because I had snoring and that's it. And he was like, I had to act as you, as Makino, and try to find the middle ground when Makino doesn't talk. And I'm like, I got the easy part.
That's got to be fun as well when you're able to like interact and switch up characters in the middle of a show. I know that there's many animes out there where you see personalities change, you know, like, and not like Ilulu where she goes from psychotic to the sweet little kid again.
No, just like a total flip.
But like you said, you swap bodies, and you see that in a few different shows. I think there was an anime called Gonna Be the Twin Tail where the main character transforms from male into a girl with pigtails.
I body swapped with all of the characters but one in that episode. And so I was like, good thing I've been watching the show up to this point, or else I would have had to have a crash course in every single one of these characters. And so luckily I'd been watching it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, so now I gotta act like now I have to act like Travis being Anya. Now I have to act like Marissa being her character, and now I have to act like Justin Briner being his character, but like still do it in my character's voice. And I was just like sweating by the end of it. I'm like, this is a lot, Cliff. And he was like, you're gonna have fun with this one. But overall I ended up watching it, and watching the other people act as me was way more fun. Like I was like, oh, this was worth the suffering of like having to like really dig to channel these other performances that I've been watching still as my character's voice. And so, but watching them impersonate me was really good.
Another show that you were a part of, Kristi, you were Momo in Chiho School Road.
Yes.
What was it like to be a part of that? I don't even like, I call it like the next generation Fooly Cooly because it's a show that's a lot of nonsense, really entertaining, and you're not sure why you sat there and watched the whole thing, but you do it again.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, what I really liked about that show was like every interaction between Emily and I can't remember who voiced Chio. But every interaction between those two was the delivery of it was so true to life. And so it was really, really cool getting to watch that. And I think that's why it, feels very modern, Fooly Cooly, is that there's like the scenes are absurd, but the acting is so grounded that it like makes you believe every single thing that's going on in the scene, and the reactions between the two and like the way they like pick on each other and stuff. Watching that is so fun because the line reads are so natural sounding. And so getting to be a part of that and getting to be this like quiet, shy girl that just goes absolutely psycho off the wall in one episode was just a blast because she's been so quiet and like, tiny and shy. And, she has like slicked back hair and her little purse up to here. And she's just so nervous. But then they give her chocolate and it turns out she's like one of those sugar crazed people. So she just goes into this like frenzy, and getting to do that was so much fun because I got to see all this like chaos happening. And then my character's like, like, I'm so sorry, please don't, I didn't mean to get in your way. And then like they give her candy one day and she's like, Sarah! And she's just like standing on the table shrieking about like how good everything is. And getting to finally like have that like unleashed moment in the show was really, really fun because I'd been watching it up to that point and I'm like, man, this show is ridiculous. And I'm so glad I got to voice Momo and have her moment. That was bad.
And Michaela Krantz was the name you couldn't think of for Chio.
Yes, it's so good. God, her and Emily were just such a hoot to watch.
And you guys, like I have mentioned many times, you guys do a phenomenal job at bringing these characters to life. And we talked a little bit about the difference between voice acting and stage acting. And I have a ton of respect for both because even though I've never done either of those, I know that there's a lot of work that goes into it. And you'll always hear different arguments about things because people like to argue nowadays. Everybody likes to cause fights and whatnot. But I've always thought that voice acting was a little tougher than stage acting because you only have your voice to bring these characters to life. Where on stage, you're able to use your whole body, costumes, things of that nature to bring characters out. So I've always admired voice actors for being able to know how to control tones and stuff to bring a scene that we see that's not you guys, but a character you're creating and making us just fall in love with them.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Physicality is a large part of acting. And one of the things that you will very frequently see voice actors doing, even if they're like, because I was telling you before we went on, I'll be acting and I'll like knock my arm against the back of the closet or something because, if I'm having to do something where I'm like very physical, like posture and stance and like even like moving my arms and like reaching out and just like going nuts, but staying on mic, has helped a lot. So there is still a little bit of movement, luckily, with voice acting. And, even though nobody sees it, it helps the performance feel, because where your body goes, your mind will follow. And so, when that, it helps give you a little more truth in that. Also, another thing that really helps is if like your character is landing, you can just like do a little bounce and actually be like, huh, and like, having that like little, huh, like the little bounce or whatever is going to make it sound just as, good as it can anyway. So there is still a little bit of physicality involved, just not nearly as much as, stage and stuff like that. But I do feel like, and I'm Rachel, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like I speak for a lot of voice actors whenever I say we also have it almost easier because we get to like really play with these extreme characters that go beyond our physical limitations. And so we get to do even more fun stuff of having these gigantic fight scenes or play these flying sheep. We get to do these things that we would never get to do on stage. And I don't know how.
I definitely agree because like the thing with being on stage and stuff like that, what you look like is what you can be on stage, if that makes sense. So like if you look like you're an ingenue or the main female love interest role, whatever, then that's what you are. If you're the funny best friend, you're the funny best friend, but in the anime you can be a sheep, you can be a mech, you can be a girl who transforms into a dragon and back, like you can be all these weird things. And I also agree with the physicality because I think whenever you're listening to something and you can tell that like the actor is not actually physically moving or attacking or something like that, it reads as false. Like you hear it and you're like, I didn't really believe that. So like with where our bodies go, our voice finds the truth in that and it sells. So like I spend most of my time in the booth like this. I'm like, oh yes, I'm here, I'm acting, look at me, I'm acting.
I feel that like if I'm going into a fight scene, I look like I'm about to eat the mic. Like I'm just like I'm ready to go. Like
yeah.
So physicality, gotcha.
There's definitely an overlap for sure because it's all acting, it's all based in acting techniques and stuff like that, but there are definite pros and cons to both. I would say because in voice acting, if you flub a line, you can just do it again. If you do that on stage during a performance, you can't go back. You're screwed. Like you have to rely on
time marches forward whether you like it or not.
Like no. And it's I would say that a stage is it's a marathon, definitely, because like once you start, you can't stop. Like you have to keep going. And if you stop, then you've ruined it. You've ruined the whole thing, and you have to rely on the other actors around you to help you get back on track, But in voice acting, you can just be like, oh, we'll just roll in for it again, you're fine, don't worry about it.
And there are times where I'll flub a line, or I know that the line that I gave wasn't the best read that I could give, and so it'll be a line like, oh, I didn't know that. And so I'll say it. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And then in my head, I'm like, that sucked. And then I'll just like do another one right after it. And the engineer hasn't stopped rolling or recording yet. And so they're like, yeah, cool. Take the second take.
Yeah.
And so I just get like instant redos. And like I'll throw out a secondary option sometimes if I need to. And they're like, all right, cool, take the second take on that one. And it's nice because you get to have that like instant redo of like, oh, that didn't sound great, or like, oh, that maybe I could do that better in like my head. And so you just throw out another read of it and problem solved. You know, you don't have you don't have to turn back time or, you know, worry about coming back from anything. It's because you just like did your thing and like line was taken.
And also like the engineers, if you leave just a hair of blank space in between one line and the next, they can slap it a little left or a little right. Oh, it's
it's great. Yeah, they're phenomenal.
They're so good. Every time I have like big paragraphs, I'll talk to the engineer and I'll be like, good luck with that one. Sorry. I'm just trying to get words out of my mouth, man. I don't know.
Oh man, and it's always like some sort of like corporation that's like the da 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 corporation. And so I'm like, and they're all like Japanese names except for like one, and it's like a law firm with like all of these names attached to it, and I'm just like, okay, engineer, we'll be prepared because we're going to spend some time here.
It's like, I need at least 4 takes because I will flub at least 4 of them. So, thank you.
That is one thing I will say. Newscasters have to say a lot of official things, like official names of stuff. And I'm like, some of these are hard. My voice doesn't normally do that, or my tongue doesn't naturally move that way because I'm an English speaker. Oh no. What do I do?
In the first season of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, in the episode with the Christmas play episode, Elma has a line where she has to say the longest Japanese name I have ever seen and have seen since. And I looked at it and I started breaking it down in my head, like, because we were on lines above it and I was looking ahead and I was like, how on earth do you say this? And I told Kyle, I was like, Kyle, and like he was still in the booth, so I could just turn and I could look at him. I'm like, Kyle, I need help. Help me. How do you do? What do you mean?
White flag, please.
Can you retype this on how you would say it phonetically?
Oh my gosh, yes, I've had to have directors do that because they're just like, here, we're gonna do it phonetically, Kristi. Don't worry, we've got you. Yeah, because I'm the same way. I'm just like, help me, help.
Suddenly, I can't read. I don't know.
Oh gosh, yeah, I feel you on that for sure, 100,000%.
I don't have that option, which is why I butcher so many anime character names on this show.
That's all right.
It happens. I mean, I butcher IRL names, so it's not like, you know, you're doing any worse than I already do just on the regular.
Listen, I'm a substitute teacher. Every time I have to call roll for these kids, I'm like,
oh no, especially with the Zoomer names. Oh my God. Like,
I'm like, what are you? I always preface, and I'm like, I will butcher your name, and I'm so sorry. I have the basic name. My name is Rachel Glass. I don't know how to read. Sorry.
I teach college, and I had a kid who, I call him a kid. He was like 21, but to me that's kid because I'm 33. Like, I feel like they're my babies, like all these young children. I'm like, oh, you sheltered children haven't even seen Ren and Stimpy. And so anyway, I had a kid, and I don't know, he might be watching, or I don't know if he'll ever watch this or see this. I'm not sure, but I love his name so much, and I didn't want to say the obvious because I know he had gotten this his entire life, but I really wanted to say something about it. But his name was Raiden. And I'm like, what has he not heard that is Mortal Kombat related? There's nothing this poor kid has not heard that is Mortal Kombat related. And I'm like, but I love the name. I really got to say that I really like his name, but I know he's got this trail, this lifetime of trail of Mortal Kombat behind him, of things people have said, even just being like the Mortal Kombat character, even just people saying that. Yes. And so one day I was just like, okay, you don't got to say anything back, but your name is really cool. I just wanted to tell you that. I'm sorry. It's Raiden. It's great. I love Mortal Kombat. And then like, but yeah, he was one of those names that really stood out to me. I was like, Raiden, man, that's a cool name. And it was spelled exactly like the Mortal Kombat character.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Kind of on topic, but still off topic. I get so many times if I get asked the question if I'm related to Caitlin Glass, and I'm like,
Oh, I didn't even
no,
think about that.
no, I am not. I am not related to Caitlin Glass in any way, shape, or form. I
Interesting.
wish I was. I am not. I
Yeah.
think it's still on a website somewhere that I'm related, like I'm her little sister, and I was like, no, we don't.
Well, it's
even
like
look
Emily
alike.
and Rico.
Yeah, I love whenever they leaned into it. They're like, "This is my brother. This is my sister." And it's like, no, you guys are silly. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Unfortunately, nobody else has my last names aside from
You're
or like
blessed.
yeah. Yes and no, because
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how many times people mess up my name. Like I've been called Kristi Rothrock before, and I'm
Oh
like,
no,
stop that.
no.
And so yeah, no, the worst was we were at a restaurant and they were like, rough cock, table of 5. And my dad was like, don't get up. No, this is not us. I'm going to go up there quietly and tell her that we're here, but we are nobody else get up, okay? And he was like, we are not rough cock. And so Rothrock is great because it sounds like a badass name, but at the same time, the number of people that mess it up are just too. And they're like, oh, like Cynthia Rothrock? And I'm like, yep, just like her, but no relation. There are far more Rothrocks than you think there are. Just luckily none that are in voice acting yet.
Ayo.
Ayo.
And you were talking about questions or comments that you don't want to ask because they've already heard it. It's like with you, Rachel, I was not going to ask about if you were related to Caitlin because I knew you had probably heard that a million times. I try to pride myself on not asking the question that you will hear at every anime con that you go to from a fan. I like to try to find a little bit deeper questions for the guests when they come on the show, just to show I do pay attention to the animes that are out there. And one thing that I was curious about, you were talking about, method acting in the booth and stuff. With Elma, she eats a lot in many of her scene appearances. She's in the process of eating something. Mm-hmm. Do you bring food into the booth with you when you record? Do you eat like a candy bar or something while you're doing that?
I do not eat in the booth, unfortunately. You can either put a finger in your mouth, or I usually just put a lot of air in my mouth. It's like, like you just like pretend that you have it in your mouth. Mm-hmm. Mostly because you don't want to spit food into like a $3,000, $5,000 microphone.
Yeah, the pop filter can only stop so much.
Like it gets enough spit as it is. So
yeah, there's some like in booth Foley that we can do. Like my character ate a lot last season. Rose from Combatants Will Be Dispatched, and I could always just like, oh my gosh, this food is so good. Like, and that, or like you said, like the air in your mouth. Mm-hmm. There are ways to go around things that I think for Goblin Slayer, I think they like had him talk like with the bowl behind the mic to get the metallic sound of the helmet. Like that wasn't added in post, I don't think. So that was always pretty neat to hear about some of the Foley stuff that we can do like in booth.
Yeah, there's some stuff you can do. Like anytime there's like a bite thing, people are like, are you actually biting into something? I'm like, no, it's just air. It's just like it's just you make a little in the back of your and you just
yeah and it's just kind of like training yourself to make these noises. And like I remember one time there was a character that in Citrus, it was whenever Yuzu was like had her head down like on her desk, and so the way that they like recreated that noise was she held a book in front of herself, and it had that like talking into a flat surface sound. And so like that's how they got that to sound right, and it was like perfect for the show. So that was done entirely in booth. And I always thought that was super neat.
And I'm gonna sound like an idiot now, but I did not realize you were Rose and Combats Will Be Dispatched. We had Anthony on the show September 26th, so not even a month ago, and he's like, you've got to watch this show.
It is so funny.
You'll love it. And oh my god, Rose is my favorite character. She was the best character in that show.
I'm so glad you think that. Rose is phenomenal. She's my little hungry hippo.
I'm like, she is so freaking cute. It's like she
I
made that
voice
show.
gremlin characters. I love it. Because she's just like, yummy in my tummy. Like that kind of thing. Like,
Because I just looked it up. I'm like, wait, why does that sound familiar? I saw that show just recently. What?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw my reaction when I was Googling. I'm like, I know this character's name. And I was telling my wife, I was like, you got to watch this show. It's great.
It's
It's
so
like, it
funny.
definitely has a Konosuba feel. And I like Konosuba. My favorite character in that is Megumin. And I put Rose right there with her.
That's awesome. Thank you. I'm glad that you think that. I love her so much, and voicing her was just the best. I have not had that much fun in a long, long time because that show was just so off the freaking wall.
So now I have to hide the fanboy inside, you know. It's like
Hey, no judgment here. Like I have fangirled before, trust me. So, you're totally fine. Whenever oh my god, I met Rob Paulson and I cried and I felt like such a doofus.
No.
Because I mean, like that was the guy. Rob Paulson was like my idol whenever I grew up. Like I would just like watch the Animaniacs religiously, and like every show that he was in, I was just like, I love this. And I was like, this sounds like the most fun job in the world. And like him, and I followed a bunch of other voice actors and like what they did and where they were in, and so I was like collecting them all in my head like baseball cards. I could just like name off all these people, and they all inspired me to want to be a voice actor. And so like I was like, by the third grade, I was like jazzed because I was like, I'm finally old enough to be in the school plays, and like I was like ready for my moment, and like I like auditioned for everything that I could. And I don't know where I was going, because like I was this little girl in Durant, Oklahoma before the internet. Like how the hell did I think I was going to be a voice actress? But I was like just a ham. I was just a total freaking ham. And like obviously you can tell I have a problem with talking way too much, because I feel like I've dominated this freaking interview.
No,
I actually have a tattoo that says never shut up on it, because that is like exactly what I do. But anyway, so yeah, I met him like time marches forward. I met him and like I was like, I couldn't even breathe. I was like, I'm so glad I didn't give him my name, because that's embarrassing. And like I was just like, my idol that had like literally changed my life, because he made me want to be an actor, and like specifically a voice actor. And like now I am a voice actor, and it's come full circle, and I get to meet him. And I was like, I don't think he even understood like what I was like saying, because I was just like blubbering like an idiot. And he just hugged me and he's like, don't cry, little girl. And I'm like, shit, I'm 30. Like I just look like a child. But he was so sweet. And I actually got to meet him a second time, because I went to go see him at one of his live shows, because my boyfriend had gotten me tickets, and I got to meet him and actually talk to him and not cry my eyes out. So I felt like I got my shot at redemption, and it looked very different then from the time that I did then, so I like didn't even mention it. I was like, me. And so no, we've never met before. It's
No,
fine.
not even once.
Even though he probably wouldn't remember me anyway. He probably meets, so many people all the time. But yeah, it was really awkward, and I'm so glad I've outed myself now, but nobody tell him. No, it's I don't know him at all. But yeah, no, he was like my idol, and I got to meet him, and that was like the most fangirl I've ever fangirled. So yeah, I no judgment on anyone who ever decides to fanboy or fangirl.
Yeah. I haven't met the two people who I would love to fangirl on, but if I did, I would also probably cry.
Who is it?
I want to meet Allegra Clark. And she's a voice actor out of LA. And then, oh no, I just lost her name. Oh God, what is her name?
Don't worry, it's been happening all night.
Jennifer Hale. Jennifer Hale.
Okay.
She voices female Commander Shepard in Mass Effect, which was a very. I love that game. And I love her in it, and I adore her. And Allegra Clark is she's in a ton of stuff. I don't even know, but I messaged her on Tumblr back whenever she was a cosplayer just starting out to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
I messaged her and I was like, "Hi, I'm a brand new voice actor. I live in Texas. Can you give me any advice and stuff like that?" And she wrote me like this long like paragraph of like, "Oh, you live in Texas. You're close to like Gearbox Studios, and you can do all this and stuff like that." And she was just so kind, and like I didn't like expect anything out of it, and she was actually gave like really good advice. And like she does, I'm sure she does not remember that or at all, but like I remember it, and I'm just like, I want to message her every once in a while and just be like, "Hi, thank you, you're amazing. I'm a voice actor now." but she's
awesome
like, "Who are you?"
No, it's great that whenever you get to like message or reach out to the people that you admire, and they're like super like just genuinely good people.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Rob Paulson. And so it's always magical whenever you have those moments like that, where you're just like, this person that you've like appreciated for so long ends up being like, you know, the person that you thought they were, just a nice person.
And that's why I try whenever anybody reaches out to me, like, how do I get into voice acting or whatever? Like the initial reaction is like, the gut reaction is like, "I'm really busy. Can you just Google it?" Because there's so many resources now. But at the same time, I'm just like, but what if I'm their person?
Right,
like, I need to like try and create my own community around me.
Yeah, and like things like that are an opportunity rather than because like it is really hard whenever you are really, really busy, because I'm the same way. I'm just like, okay, like I need to set aside time though to like reply to people, because I don't, like you said, like I might be that person's person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't ever want anyone to feel like I think less of them or anything like that. And I always want to like, because I mean, as far as like the position that I have, I feel like I did fangirl in front of Christian Tribute Live. That's awesome. I love that. No, I never want anyone to feel unwelcome, because the fact of the matter is like the fact that I even have one fan, let alone, you know, fans out there who I've never even met, is like
weird.
No,
It's mind-blowing.
I don't deserve this. What?
Who are you?
No,
Yeah.
and
Who am I?
I'm
What do
just
you
like,
mean?
I'm like, I am. No, this is you've made a mistake. And like,
I agree.
and I feel so like thankful for it and grateful for it, and still so like humbled by it, because it's just like the fact that like anybody appreciates the things that I do or has like connected with a character that I voiced. I'm just like still like, it just takes my breath away. I'm just like, I can't believe that like what I've worked to is having this kind of effect on people, and I get to still enjoy doing it, and it's still having a positive effect on people. And that feeling, it's never going to be just like a syringe of dopamine to the brain, man. It's just like, this is unbelievable that I have the opportunity to reach so many people.
And it's funny when doing a show like this, where, like I said, I've been hosting Anime-Zing Radio for 7.5 years. And I started it when I was co-hosting another show where we talked paranormal. So I've been doing like internet radio podcasting for probably 12 to 15 years. Most of it was paranormal before starting the show. And I get nervous when I reach out to the voice actors. When I reaching out to you guys, I get nervous because it's like, I'm still a small show. We're not very well known. And I'm reaching out to some of the biggest names and some of the newest names. And it's like, I worry, like when I'm reaching out to both of you guys for the Dragon Maid special, it's like, well, you could have gone after, I think, Kristi, you were even like, I'm sure you've met, you know, messaged the main characters out of there. But it's like, I love finding you guys because Leah Clark, everybody knows that name. Jade Saxton, they're established in the voice acting world. The fans know them. They're the ones that are in the high demand. But I love talking with you guys because even though you may not have a lot of A-tier roles, lead roles, things like that, you guys are working just as hard. And I love to promote you guys for the work you're doing because,
thank you.
Like I said, with Rose, absolutely fantastic character. I love that character. Elma, one of my favorite characters in Dragon Maid franchise. So being able to talk with both of you guys, it's like I'm a fan of yours. So doing a podcast like this where I get to talk to many different voice actors, and not just that, we have cosplayers on, artists, musicians, gamers, anybody that you'll see in the convention community, we try to bring on the show. And it's like I have there are many shows I have to subdue the fanboy. I have to portray the professionalism, so to speak. Which, Kristi, being in radio, as you said, sometimes you have to block out emotions and things of that nature so that you can not completely be a goofball or a jackass on the air.
I understand. Yeah, I've actually interviewed people before because I used to work for a podcast, and then I worked on the radio, and I've interviewed people before where my heart's just like, but on the outside, I'm like, yeah, so tell me about your new project that you've got coming up. On the inside, I'm like, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Don't. And so, yeah, I totally understand that feeling completely. But no, I appreciate you so much for having me on here because, I enjoy getting to like talk to people about, what we do, and especially getting to talk with another voice actors. Also because, we can talk about shared experiences that we've had and everything. And so it was wonderful getting to be on tonight because, it's the fact that you reached out to me is very flattering, and I do appreciate it very much.
And
Absolutely.
I have wanted to have both of you on the show for a while. And like I said, sometimes the nerves are there where it's like, I don't want to feel like I'm bothering the voice actors. So I'll send a message out. If I don't hear nothing back, it may be a while before I respond back. And I've had I think it was Brandon McInnes. It's like, no, just clutter my email to try if you want to try to get me on. I'm so busy. If you don't just keep staying on top of it, I will probably never get back to you. And unfortunately, we still haven't been able to schedule him on the show, but we've met him at AAC.
He's great.
The convention's coming up.
He's a delight.
Met him
I've taken classes from him. He's delightful.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
When you do have him on, he'll be great.
Oh yeah, we've talked with him many times. I remember, I want to say it was a couple of years ago at another anime convention, and they had lines set up for the different voice actors for autograph session. And Tatum's line kind of went out the door and around the set wall and stuff.
Yeah.
Or no, it was Anime Boston. They were both there. And Brandon had nobody in his line.
That's so nuts.
And it's like everybody knows Tatum's work, and it's one of those cases of J. Michael Tatum. Everybody knows Sebastian from Black Butler, one of his most notable roles, and he's very outgoing and fantastic person. I'm like, Brandon is just as good as he is. In some cases, I think his work has sounded better than Tatum's. It's like, so I'm like, okay, I'm going up and talking to Brandon because he's fantastic as well, and like I know. I haven't seen either of you at a New England area convention yet, but definitely if I can get out to a con where you ladies are at, I want to meet you guys. Because like I said, I have a lot of respect for the work you do. Also, a lot of love, as we've said throughout the show, to the engineers, the producers, the people behind the scenes.
Oh,
the voice actors get all the credit, but those guys do 95%
There's so much
of the
credit
week.
due. Yeah.
They,
we are a part of a very large puzzle. Like
we come in at the very end and we steal all the glory and we run away.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like the script adapters, the people who translate, the directors, the engineers, time coders.
Producers.
Yeah, I mean, God, producers. Yeah, everybody who is involved in this, like, just this machine where every part needs to work well. And then we come in and we read out loud and then we get the glory. And I'm like, but hang on though, because these engineers and all these other people, like, bless them.
Kicking butt, yes.
Like, I had to engineer myself for like a month and it's
terrible.
So yeah. And so, yeah, bless everybody who does their jobs so well, because without them, we wouldn't get to be voice actors. Yeah. And I really appreciate that. And again, I do appreciate you having me on. It's been really nice because, I haven't gotten a chance to do a whole lot of conventions. And so I've been kind of like putting out feelers and like, doing guest inquiries of my own and just being like, hey, I'm interested in becoming, part of your convention. But ultimately what helps too is, people like you, Doug, who, you saying that you would like to see somebody at a convention. So if there is a convention coming up and you would like to see us, suggesting us does actually help.
Mm-hmm.
And I am trying to get to work with a local convention here. They're just a little, I don't know what's going on, but there's a convention that's literally 45 minutes from where I live in Colchester, Vermont, called Bakuretsukan. It's a convention that my wife and I actually met at. We know the person who used to be the, run that convention. We're friends with them and told them that we're interested in helping out any way that we can, including obviously with the connections I've been able to make with the voice actors. There are so many of you who are starting out who would be perfect for a smaller convention. Mm-hmm. And I think you guys, like I said, you guys get overlooked a lot because everybody wants, Tatum, Todd Haberkorn, Monica Rial, all the big anime names out there. But it's like, I want to find people like you guys who work just as hard to get to where you're at. And you need to get the promotion out there too. People need to know Kristi Rothrock and Rachel Glass just as much as Caitlin Glass or Monica Rial, in my opinion.
Thank you. Yeah. I do appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate you doing what you do to help folks who are, lesser known. Because I'll admit, I ain't a star. I ain't some big shot or anything like that. No. Yeah. And so, like, I do appreciate that a lot because, it's ultimately, recognition is. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. No, it's, going to conventions is ultimately, the best part about going to conventions is finally getting to meet people who you've connected with for so long, and like people who maybe you've talked with online and stuff like that. And so I love conventions because, like, again, I feel like any actor who's in it for the right reason isn't in it to like have people adore them or rain praise on them by any means. But getting to actually just meet these people who are like inspired by you just like makes my heart flutter, because I'm just like, the fact that I've like positively affected somebody is just like
nuts. It's mind blowing. Very weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Very weird. Anytime someone's like, "No, I know you from da 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 da," and I'm like, "No, you don't. What? No.
Yeah.
You know what I sound like? What
exactly. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to meet you." And I'm like, "Me?
Me? Are you? No.
No, you're thinking of someone else. No.
No. I gotta go. Bye.
I'm so awkward. Like, people are like, "So what do you do?" And I'm like, "I work in radio. That's it."
I go, "I'm a seamstress and an actor. I gotta go. Bye."
Yeah, because I don't ever want to feel like I'm like, "Yes, I'm an actor. Ask me about all of my jobs." But I'm
a voice actor. Have you heard of a little show called My Hero Academia? I'm in it for 2 episodes. Goodbye.
Yes.
The craziest thing about saying something like that, we were talking with Anthony about, he had recently been at a convention where, they didn't announce that he was Seiya in Cautious Hero, but people would come up go, "Wait, you're Seiya?" Like, because they would put the big name shows out there. If you say, "I'm in Fairy Tail, I'm in My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, or SAO," conventions want you. No matter how big a role. But if you're in Clockwork Planet, people are like, "What?"
I'm in Clockwork Planet.
I know, that's why I said that. Okay. I loved that show.
She came, like, my character came in like the last 3 episodes, and people are like, "Oh no, you're in Clockwork Planet," and I was like, "Am I? Am I though?"
There are some people who will ask me about shows, and they're like, "Yeah, you were in this show. I brought it up on Anime News Network," and I'm like, I don't
remember that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
and like people are like, "What was it like to be in Fairy Tail?" And I was like, "I was fleeing Villager 2A, so I can't really tell you much."
It was pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome being in the booth with 4 other screaming villagers.
Yeah. That's so great. Amazing.
And
Yeah.
it's so funny because I feel bad because as you've experienced too, Rachel, before COVID, you would be sitting in the lobby and sometimes someone would be like, "Hey, I need someone to do a girl voice, like a little girl
Mhm.
voice," and you're like, "Cool, me." And so they'll just like, "Hey, you're this little girl, awesome, good, got the line, let's go." And they don't necessarily even tell you what show it is, and
No.
so you'll find out later that you're in these shows,
Mhm.
and I'm like, they'll ask me like, "Yeah, what was like you were in this show and I didn't even like have a name or whatever." And I'm like, I didn't even know I was in that show. And it's not that I have like a disrespect toward any of the shows that I'm in. It's just as bit parts and stuff like that, you're in so many different things
Mhm.
that you don't even like know what the show is sometimes.
Yeah,
Bit
I'll
parts are
go
funky
back
like
on
that.
my Anime News Network or whatever page, and I'm like, oh, was I in that?
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'm
I
like,
was
oh, hey, I was in that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was in
Like
that.
I think I have a credit for Citrus, and I was Walla in like the second episode or something, and I'm like, I guess
Right.
that's my credit. Like, woo, did it.
Yeah, high five on the citrus.
Crushed it.
And I'm not one of those people who watch the mainstream animes that often. I like
Mhm.
more of the hidden gems, like After School Dice Club. I know, Rachel, I think you had a bit part in that.
Probably.
And Kristi, you had more of a main speaking role. If I remember correctly, wasn't she like student council? She wanted the dice club, the club
She
like
was
shut
Rin
down.
Shibusawa, and she didn't like the dice club because she thought that they were just nonsense and school clubs were like academic stuff. But she had a super secret crush on Rico's character. But Rico was so laid back and she hated that. He's such a laid back jerk, but I love him. And then finally he was totally chill with like she was like vice president and he was president. And so he had like rule over her and he was like chill with the dice club and she was like jealous of that because she she didn't want him liking the dice club or whatever. But then she ends up joining the dice club ultimately. Spoiler alert, sorry. We talked about having a game night one time and Rico was like, "Yeah, we should come." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, you're the vice president of whatever club we were in. You gotta be there." And I was like, "All right, cool." We ended up not having it because like code was like pew, like struck us all down right after that. But yeah, being in after school dice club was really fun. Rin was she's a little bit of a jerk.
And
Jerk pink-haired characters. That's me.
like I said, I like to find those odd ones. Like After School Dice Club, I loved. I had to watch that after watching New Game. I fell in love with that series as well. And looking through some of the other roles, of course, I use Anime News Network. And then when I see a character, it's like, I know, I watched that anime. Which character is it? Okay, I Google the name, and then okay, I remember that.
Yeah, well, Anime News Network is like more complete than IMDb or any other source. Yeah,
I don't know how
it's
they do it.
incredible. Yeah, I am so thankful for Anime News Network because they have credits that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah,
and without them, I wouldn't know what I was in.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm like, oh, I have something else I need to put on my resume, and then I'll pull up my own page and I'm like, oh, there it is.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
So
if I'm updating my resume, I go to Anime News Network because they're so amazing about putting new stuff on there.
Because I was putting, I think, my Clockwork Planet character on my resume, and I was like, what was her name? What was her name? And like, I could not remember it for the life of me. Yeah. And then I was like, how do I Google this? And then I didn't because it was just on there. So
yeah, it's super nice.
All of the people in Anime News Network.
We're not affiliated, but if you guys want to work with us, we would love to have you on the show. So the same thing goes with anybody behind the scenes with the animes, the engineers, scriptwriters, adapters. We would be honored to have any of you guys who work and ladies who work behind the scenes on the show to talk more about what it's like behind the scenes. We love to find out that stuff. I'm an Aries. I want to know everything about everything and a lot about nothing. So
I love that.
And I know that we've got a little bit past 10 o'clock, but I want to thank you ladies so much for joining us. I want to give you guys a chance to promote yourselves, any shows you have that you're working on. We call this our shameless plugging section. The floor is yours.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, my Twitter handle is Rachel Glass VO at the very end, so it's the at Rachel Glass VO. I don't tweet a lot, but every time I do, it's probably funny. I don't know. I am currently in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid season 2. I just finished up One Piece a little bit ago. If you're into that, it's the Dressrosa arc. I play Leo. He's this big. And then I also am a part of a D&D group called Shattered Tabletop Gaming, which is every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to 9? 10. Probably 10. 8 to 10. Every Tuesday night. And that's on Twitch at Shattered Tabletop Gaming, or on, I think maybe they're on YouTube. Not really sure. But I do that every Tuesday, and it's fun. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Okay, so my Twitter is at grandpa_trout.
Love it.
Long story behind it. We won't get into it because I know it's late. But there is a story, and one of these days I will get to tell it. But yeah, grandpa_trout. And my Instagram, I post. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie. All right, my tweets are bangers. A lot of my tweets are bangers, and so like I highly recommend that because that's where I'm my most gross. So if you really like gross, that's where I'm posting like macaroni and cheese goblin pictures. But also my Instagram is at LETZ let's_shake. So let's shake with an underscore and let's spelled with a Z, because let's be real here, I am a hoe for No More Heroes. And so I loved Let's Shake from the first game. And so I named that as my Instagram handle. And at this point, my branding is so inconsistent across all platforms that I don't even care. Grandpa Trout, Let's Shake. Who knows? I might make another social platform and just make up a totally different name for that too. But anyway, yeah, so there's that. And also, if you are unfortunately awake at 6 to 9 in the morning, Central Time, then you can listen to me on the radio on 99.7. And we have an app, so you can stream us. It's B997 The Buzz. And so if you want to hear my morning show and hear me embarrass myself lots, that's where that is. And yeah, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And also, I think they're rerunning Dragon Ball Super, so you can hear me as Rosie on that on Cartoon Network if you want to. But as far as I can tell, nobody really likes Universe 2. So maybe you don't want to watch that because, Raleigh warned me. He was like, yeah, so Universe 2 is really not a well-liked universe. And I'm like, bro, I'm in Dragon Ball. I don't give a frick. And so I'm like, people can hate me for all I care. Like, I get to be in a cool show. And so, yeah, that and Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, it's ongoing as far as Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid goes. So to see all the cuteness and awesome backstory that everyone's getting to have in the second season, highly recommend that one. It's chef's kiss. Anyway, I've talked a lot and I'm so sorry.
No, it's great.
I'm so sorry. God, I talk too much.
That's okay. And as proof, I just downloaded the app for the Buzz.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's us. Yay.
That way there, when I'm at work, if I can take the phone or whatnot, because we're not supposed to really have phones on at work, I can tune in and listen to you.
Awesome.
And we would love to have both of you back on the show to talk more about your careers. I know we touched a little bit about some of the other characters that you've done on the show. We're supposed to focus on Dragon Maid, but you ladies are awesome. We would be honored to have you both back in the future.
Thank you so much. And I had a great time being on. Thank you again.
I did as well. It was a lot of fun.
And thank you for tolerating me how much I do talk. I feel like I dominate every freaking conversation and I'm like self-conscious about it. Like, I'm sorry.
It's perfect for me because I feel like I'm always just sitting there going,
yeah. See, that's whenever I get the most self-conscious. I'm like, oh no, I'm in deep and I'm not letting anyone get a word in edgewise, and now I can't even stop.
No, we should always do interviews together because you'll talk, and I'll just be like, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes, I'm in it. We can do that. Yes, we can pair up on interviews anytime. Okay, here's our deal.
Yeah.
Anytime we're at a con together, we panel together.
Yes,
that's how 100%.
100%. I'll be like, yes, Kristi.
Yes. And I'll be like, hey, throw it to her for just a second. All right,
yeah, that's great.
All right.
I was just thinking because every year, our last show of the year, because we take 2 weeks off around Christmas, New Year's to spend time with family.
As you should.
But we always, the last show of the year, we always like to do something special. I think it would be awesome to bring you both back in December if you ladies have the time to do our Christmas special this year, because you both, like, together you're amazing. Maybe we could throw somebody else in the mix and you can scare them. Who knows?
Yeah, I would love that. Yes, I would love to be a part of that.
And maybe we could even have our 200 subscribers and get a winner from that to come on as well. And so
cool.
if you're out there and you're watching this, you haven't hit that subscribe button and you would love a chance to chat with these ladies, do that. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. We enjoy doing these shows for you guys, our fans out there. We love talking to these wonderful people that we have on, the voice actors, the cosplayers, the artists, the musicians, the gamers, the conventions that we promote. Because, you know, if it wasn't for the fans out there, we'd have no real reason to do this. And I love promoting people. I love, you know, highlighting others out there, because, you know, there's so many amazing people out there that you never get to see. I know cosplaying wise, we focus a lot on New England and New York area cosplayers because that's where I'm located. But if you've got your favorite cosplayers out there, let us know. Put them down in the comments below, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Anime-Zing Radio. Give us suggestions on who you'd like to see us have in the future. Voice actors, cosplayers, some of your favorite vendors or artists from your local conventions. You know, conventions are starting up again. We haven't been able to travel very far outside of the New England area because for a while we were Boston based. Now we live upstate New York, like 45 minutes from Canada.
Can I suggest a cosplayer? Like,
yes.
Am I allowed to do submissions? I don't know this person. I just follow them on Instagram, and they're awesome. I don't know how many followers they have, but they go by Kittumcos, Kittumcos, I think. And I love following them because they have such really great cosplays. And I think they've got like a Hasman Hotel one. They've got, they do like Animal Crossing ones. And I don't know, I love Kittumcos. And so that was my suggestion. If I would like, because I would love to like hear them talk about the process of like doing makeup and stuff like that. Cause they do the wild makeup that like completely transforms their face and stuff. It's so cool.
I tell you what,
that's
Kristi,
my suggestion. I mean, you don't have to reach out to them by any means. I was like, man, who would I want to hear from them as far as cosplayers go? And I'm like, Kim Cos, man, they're awesome.
Send me the information. If we can get them as a guest on the show, we'll get you on as a guest co-host.
No way. That would be fantastic. I would love that. Yeah. Heck, I would, even if not, I would watch that because I'm interested in them.
and you know, because that's one thing I've loved about doing this show. And I know we're still live, and a lot of the times that this is stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but I love to give people the opportunity to talk to the people that they like. The fans talk to their favorite voice actors. We've actually had Bryn April come on as a guest co-host to interview a girl that I met at a convention cosplaying as Cyan from Show by Rock.
Oh, that's cool.
And I didn't tell the girl that Bryn was our special guest co-host.
No.
She had no idea until 30 minutes before she came on the air.
That's a great surprise. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I would be a little terrified.
I would too.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I wouldn't know what to do. Like if I found out that I was like co-hosting with like Rob Paulson or something, I would like, speaking of finding out things your voice can do, that was one of them that I've discovered recently. It's just a like horrific nightmare hawk. I don't know what else to call it. I will never get to use it, but I like it.
No, one day you will.
One day I will get to use that wild, like whatever the heck that was. That it'll fit. There's a situation for every sound. I'm convinced of it.
Exactly.
Once again, we want to thank Rachel Glass and Kristi Rothrock for joining us tonight. It has been a pleasure chatting with these amazing young ladies.
Oh.
And I can say that because I'm probably the oldest one on the stream.
Well, thank you. It's been wonderful talking with y'all as well.
Yeah, it's been delightful.
Next week, we do not have a live Sunday show because we will be at another anime convention in Westford, Mass.
What conventions?
October 31st, we do not have a live show scheduled. We're going to be looking at doing a show on the November 1st due to the fact of Halloween, and we want to spend time with the family. I might do a pre-recorded show. We've been talking with our friend Dan Flanders from Manic Mart, Manic Dan as he's known as. He makes some really cool stuff. Kristi, I think you would like his stuff. If I can get the camera out over here. That skull that's up there,
Oh, yes.
he made
Yes.
that.
Cool.
That's
Okay.
and that's cardboard.
That's so cool.
He makes some really, really awesome stuff. He likes the spookier, creepier. Like every year around Christmas, he does Krampus.
I love it. Can you message me more information about that?
Yeah.
Yes. We'll trade. I'll send you Kidum Cause and you can send me them. Like, because I want to swap info, man. I love the creepy.
As do we. Like I said, I've done a lot of paranormal stuff in the past, and let's say goodbye to all our fans out there. Like I said, we'll be back. Our next scheduled guest is November 7th, when we're going to have Godswill Ugga Jr. is going to be joining us. On November 14th, we have Giovanni Cruz is going to be joining us. The anime fans know her from Show by Rock Mashumai Resh. You also may know her from the movies. Suicide Squad, she was just in.
That's
Oh
awesome.
wow. Cool.
So we're going to have Rachel Mather joining us, who won the opportunity to be our guest co-host for the interview at a local convention recently. We donated that prize to help their charity auction, which went to a local children's hospital in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's awesome.
So excited about that. Until November 1st, when we do our next live scheduled show, of course, keep an eye. You never know when we're going to pop up with midweek specials. We hope everybody has a wonderful week. Enjoy watching the anime, and we will see you again soon.